The knock came at 2:17 a.m., sharp and desperate, slicing through the silence of the small house like a blade. Daniel froze in the hallway, one hand gripping the baseball bat he kept by the door, the other instinctively reaching back toward the bedroom where his 6-year-old daughter slept. No one knocked at that hour unless something had gone terribly wrong. "Daddy?" Lily's sleepy voice floated from behind him, fragile and afraid. "Stay in bed," Daniel whispered, forcing calm into his voice as his heart hammered against his ribs. He hadn't expected trouble tonight. He never did. His life had shrunk to predictable routines since his wife died 3 years ago. Work, school drop-offs, grocery lists, bedtime stories. Loneliness wrapped around him like a second skin, but at least it was quiet. Safe. The knock came again, louder now, urgent. "Please," a woman's voice called out, raw with fear. "I need help." Daniel closed his eyes for a split second. He had promised himself he would never open the door to strangers at night. The world had taught him that kindness could be dangerous, especially for a man raising a child alone. But fear had a sound, and this voice carried it unmistakably. He cracked the door just enough to look outside. A woman stood on his porch, drenched from the cold rain, her dark hair plastered to her face. She couldn't have been more than her late 20s. Her hands trembled as she clutched a torn jacket around herself, and her eyes darted over her shoulder toward the empty street, as if something were chasing her. "Please," she repeated, barely holding herself together. "Someone's following me." Daniel scanned the street. It was deserted, streetlights flickering, rain pooling along the cracked pavement. Every instinct screamed caution. Lily shifted behind him, peeking from the hallway. "Daddy, who is it?" she whispered. The woman's eyes flicked to Lily, and something inside them broke. She shook her head quickly. "I don't want to scare your child. I'll leave if you want. I don't know where else to go." Daniel hesitated, his mind racing through every possible danger. But then he saw it, a bruise blooming darkly along the woman's wrist, fresh, angry, the unmistakable mark of someone who had grabbed her hard. He opened the door. "Come in," he said quietly, "just for the night." The woman stepped inside as if her legs might give out at any second. Daniel locked the door behind her and slid the deadbolt into place. The simple click echoed louder than it should have. "I'm Daniel," he said, setting the bat down but keeping it close. "That's my daughter, Lily." "I'm Eva," the woman replied, her voice shaking. "Thank you. I swear I won't cause trouble." Lily studied Eva with wide eyes, then walked up and held out her favorite stuffed rabbit. "You look cold," she said seriously. "Bunny helps when I'm scared." Eva stared at the toy, then at Lily, and tears spilled freely down her cheeks. She sank to her knees and took the rabbit with trembling hands. "Thank you," she whispered, as if the word carried the weight of her entire life. Daniel felt something tighten in his chest. He hadn't expected this night to crack him open. He gave Eva a towel and an old sweatshirt, then made tea while she sat at the kitchen table, slowly regaining her breath. She spoke in fragments at first. She had left a bad situation. Someone powerful, someone who didn't like being told no. She had been followed from the bus stop, her phone dead, her options gone. Daniel listened, saying little, but every word carved worry into him. Letting her stay wasn't just kindness, it was risk. If whoever she was running from came looking, Daniel and Lily would be right in the middle of it. Later, after Lily fell back asleep, Daniel offered Eva the couch. She hesitated. "I don't want to be a burden." "You're not," he replied, though exhaustion tugged at his bones. "Get some rest. You're safe here tonight." Safe. The word felt fragile, almost dishonest, but he meant it. Sometime after midnight, headlights swept across the living room walls. Daniel jolted awake. A car idled outside his house, engine low and patient, like a predator waiting. He moved silently to the window and peeked through the blinds. A black SUV, tinted windows, no plates he could see. His stomach dropped. The car sat there for a full minute, then another. Finally, it drove slowly past the house and disappeared down the street. Daniel didn't sleep after that. By morning the storm had passed, leaving the air heavy and tense. Ava stood by the window, pale. "They found me," she whispered. "Who?" Daniel asked. She took a shaky breath. "My father." Daniel blinked. "Your father?" Ava nodded. "He's a very powerful man. Publicly he's admired, charitable, untouchable. Privately, he controls everything, including me." Her voice hardened with pain. "I finally ran when I learned what he was really capable of, what he's done to silence people." Daniel felt the room tilt. This wasn't just a family dispute. This was something darker. "Why come here?" he asked gently. Eva met his eyes. "Because your house had lights on. And because when I saw your daughter, I knew you weren't like him." The challenges came fast after that. Men began circling the neighborhood. Daniel's job received anonymous calls. Lily came home from school frightened because someone had asked about her father. Fear crept into every corner of their small, once peaceful life. Daniel struggled with guilt. He had wanted to protect his daughter from the world, yet he had invited the world's ugliness inside. Some nights he lay awake wondering if he had made the worst mistake of his life. But then he'd see Eva teaching Lily how to braid hair, laughing softly for the first time. He'd hear Lily pray at night, asking God to keep Miss Eva safe, and he knew he couldn't turn back. Eva finally told him everything. She had evidence, documents, recordings, names. Her father wasn't just abusive, he was criminal, and he would destroy anyone who stood in his way. Daniel faced an impossible choice: hand her over and regain his quiet life, or stand with her and risk losing everything. He chose to stand. With the help of an old friend in law enforcement, Daniel helped Eva get the evidence into the right hands. The days that followed were a blur of fear and hope. When the arrest finally came, it shook the city. Headlines exploded. A powerful man fell. A hidden truth came into the light. The night it ended, Eva sat at Daniel's kitchen table, hands steady now. "You saved my life," she said softly. Daniel shook his head. "You reminded me why it's worth opening the door." Eva knelt in front of Lily and handed back the stuffed rabbit. "I'll never forget what you did for me." Lily smiled. "My daddy says we help people when we can." Weeks later, the house was quiet again, but it felt different, warmer, less lonely. Daniel stood on the porch one evening, watching Lily ride her bike, when his phone buzzed with a message from Eva. She was safe. Starting over, free. Daniel looked at the door behind him, remembering the fear, the choice, the night that changed everything. Sometimes, he realized, protection doesn't come from strength or weapons or locked doors. Sometimes it comes from a tired single dad who chooses compassion over fear, and in doing so, protects not only a stranger, but the best parts of himself. And that night, when he opened his door for just one evening, he didn't only save a life, he found his own again.